Hey guys, Steve again. How you guys doing? Welcome to Angelina County and the news that affects Angelina County. Major guys, major decision today coming from the Supreme Court. I'm going to have to go back and forth and read a little bit. However, I did post it to my page. For those who don't follow my page, I'm sorry, but anyway, word of mouth is pretty good here. But anyway, there was a case that the Supreme Court heard today. Yeah, I believe it really came out today, or no, it did come out today in the news. But it stated that per a nine unanimous decision, 9-0, they ruled on infrastructure damage. They ruled on reimbursement if they take over your property for eminent domain. But the key to this is that in this scenario that I'll give you is that there was a gentleman that he had a piece of property and on I-10, and they put up a storm wall and they actually made it a hurricane route where, emergency route, you can get out of Houston in those areas or whatever. So they built a big wall during the section of I-10 to keep the floodwaters out off the highway and the freeway and those things or whatever. Now, this gentleman's property was damaged because the fact is that his water was left with nowhere to go. They had completely changed the engineering process of their infrastructure, maintenance of the roads, and they totally ignored the fact that it wasn't prepared by an engineer. The whole plan of this was not thought out or reviewed by any engineer. Now, that brings the question that we do not have an engineer in Angelina County, Texas. We have a road administrator. He has no engineering experience. This is where it's key, because the fact is that per Keith Wright, he said that we wanted to hire somebody to come out and start getting on those roads right now. Granted, everybody wants to have roads fixed now. We all agree on that. But here's where we disagree: is the fact is that we don't have an engineer planning this. Our point being as citizens is the fact is that we need somebody to come here as an engineer to design our infrastructure, to design and recommend the pavement, what's going to last, how long it's going to last, where we need to fix, where are the roads worse, which we've done, but where are our potential problems as well. Typically in the past, everybody knows that, you have to get on a waiting list and those things for your road to be looked at. And everybody knows about the roads in Angelina County. And per this decision, a Supreme Court decision, it comes out and says that you got to compensate people for their property, that you either take over or your actual engineering causes damage to their property. I'll explain to you this way. Let's say, for example, during all this rain, let's say, for example, my ditch, which it fills up all the time. Say if this ditch comes up so high, I can't access my house. If it comes up, it damages or erodes some of my land off my property, which creates a flood problem, which creates a runoff problem, and it's damaged my property to the point where I have to go in and fix it, whether it be resod it, whether it be retill it, hauling a load of dirt in, these things, just because the fact is the ditch would not irrigate properly and that the roads were not properly maintained. We have documentation all throughout for years of this happening to individuals. One case in mind is that I've had a number of individuals and also mechanics who tell me that driving on these roads will potentially cause damage. It'll cause damage to your brakes. It'll cause damage to your shocks. Some of these holes you're afraid to go off into because the fact is you don't know anybody's got a tow truck to come get you. So anyway, this decision, I'm going to see if I can read it to you here. Hopefully we'll get, okay, this case was Delia versus Texas. It was a legal case that was decided by the United States Supreme Court. Here's the summary of the case, Delia versus Texas. And I'll post this too onto my webpage, or to my page on Facebook. Matter of fact, I'm going to add it to the comment section right now. Anyway, Mr. Dilver, more than 120 and more than 120 other property owners, land of north of Interstate 10 between Houston and Beaumont. The dispute across the state of Texas took action to use portions of I-10 as a flood evacuation zone. Texas installed a roughly 3-foot barrier along the highway median to act as a dam. While this barrier kept the south side of the highway open during subsequent storms, it didn't do anything except for make the north side untravelable. So I did a little bit more research and I asked this question. I asked the question, does this pertain to ditches, roads, these kind of thing or whatever? Because that was pretty much, that's a state road, but I-10, I believe it. Yeah, it's a state road. But the fact is that this repercussions of this decision will go all the way down through county roads or whatever. Okay. I'm going to get to the good part here in a second. The case highlights the interplay between the state and federal constitution and you. Property owners can pursue claims under both Texas law and taking clause of the Fifth Amendment. The ruling acknowledges that the government actions such as building infrastructure like highway barriers can cause unique consequences such as flooding adjacent property land, and the property owners can now seek compensation for damages resulting from the government actions. Let me see. Okay. Now, certainly, if a resident experiences damage to their property due to okay, here's the key point. If a person or resident experiences damages to their property due to the poorly maintained roads, they may have legal recourse. Here's what you need to know. Government responsibility for road maintenance. Roads are typically maintained by the cities, counties, and states. If a road or highway is in a bad shape and causes damage to a resident's property, such as vehicle damage, the government responsible for maintaining that road may be liable for compensation. Now, what are the parameters you have to meet? I asked that question too. To safely sue the government entity for damages caused by poor road conditions, residents need to prove negligence. Key factors include demonstrating that a dangerous condition existed, potholes, missing barriers, unsafe construction zones. Show the government had notice of this condition, which they have known about this because they did a report on it, and providing evidence of improper maintenance or design. For that criteria, all you need to go out there and take a picture. Okay, just take a picture. How this plays into, because we have almost 75% of our roads that were very poor, were graded very poor. We have the documentation showing that. We have the documentation showing that it actually causes damage to not only vehicles, but also property damage as well. And also unsafe construction zones. Well, we don't have a lot of safety whenever we come out and do your roads. I mean, it's just, I remember they were repairing up here on Gibson up here where the T meets, high school, whatever. And they were doing some road work. I think they were burying a line or something, so they had to block off the road. Oh shit, people were pissed off. We had them backed up all the way out here, people getting out of their trucks and cars and screaming and hollering. And because the fact is that it's access to the school. And parents had to go a long way around or whatever. I don't blame them. They're going to pick up your school. You know what? You should have access to the school 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So that was an issue as well. So what this does is it gives you a precedent to file your claim, to file a claim in civil court against the county of Angelina due to the lack due to the substandard of roads in our area, along with infrastructure. So this encompasses a lot of issues or whatever. However, proving the negligence, we can prove that. We can prove that now. So all you need to do is report. I'll give you a simple way. Just go report. Just go to the website, print the report. Okay, take a copy, print a copy of, or take a picture of the damage, and then you have to show that the government or the entity, government, city, county, that they have had the notice of the condition, they were aware of the condition, and you have to provide also the providing evidence of improper maintenance or design. Now, this is where we come into play. Proper maintenance and design is conducted and accepted by the court if an engineer, a road engineer, has signed off on it, has identified all the issues that may affect this road. This is why we need an engineer. Now, how can we do this? Case in point. Well, case in point, we can do this by, we can go back to, we don't have an engineer who signed off on this. We don't have an engineer who designed this. We don't have an engineer who signed off on the project. We don't even have a summary based on an engineer giving us the pros and cons. So in essence, what this ruling does is it holds cities, counties, and the state accountable for reasons that for this nature. So in other words, if you get tired of screaming and hollering at your commissioners and they're not going to do nothing, which we know for 20 years they haven't done anything to these roads, then here's the kicker. You have a civil case. You have a civil case for your property, for your vehicle, for anything that's damaged by their actual lack of maintenance. So, or any damage they do to your property if they are fixing the roads or whatever. Say, for example, they get a bulldozer in there or some heavy equipment and they drive over into your yard or whatever. Well, they got to pay to fill up those ruts. I know it's a small thing, but anyway, you know, I got ruts in my yard. Y'all caused it. Y'all need to fix it. So now this is great timing for the folks of Angelina County who we have complained on the roads. We have shown where there's corruption in our roads. That we have shown, and we have alerted county officials, and we have been put off. We have been said, you know what? Hey, we're doing the best we can. We don't care. The longer you take, the more civil suits are going to be filed. Now, people get on to me and they say, you know, well, you're always promoting civil lawsuits. You're always trying to get money for other people or whatever. No, that's not the case. Here's the case. Is that after we have exhausted, okay, one of the reasons for these complaints is that you have to notify the officials. You have to notify the county commissioners that damage has been done to your property, and you have notified them. Typically in the past, you're on your own. They're not going to know. But now it says that they are accountable for the damage they caused to you, your property, whatever. So my thing is that I have noticed a lot of complaints, a lot of facts, a lot of proof, a lot of things we have identified to our county. We have identified to our county commissioners. Hell, I know people, just anybody they talk to, they talk about their roads. And that's just general small town kind of thing. I mean, the only thing that goes faster than word of mouth is the internet now. So this is the reason why I'm making this video, to put this out, to see what your legal actions are. I do not have a law license. I'm not saying, telling you how to do the law. What I am saying is that this is something you need to check out in, because I know you hit a roadblock with the commissioner. Typical fashion, they said, sit down, shut up. We're going to do what the hell we want to do anyway. Well, there's a number of individuals who want to have a way to fight back. Does it mean monetary gain? No. It means them repairing the damage they've done, or they continue to do, to your vehicle, your property, your roads, whatever the case may be. They have to pay for the maintenance. They have to pay for, not only do they have to come out and fix the road, they got to either pay you or complete the work themselves, or whatever the case may be. So this is a major hurdle that we've needed to overcome. Now we have a Supreme Court decision. The lower courts this has been directed to the lower courts. This also includes, let's say, for example, you have your property seized by eminent domain. They need it. They need your property for internet line, for a phone line, something of this nature, whatever. So they just can't come in there, rip it up, and walk away. If they can do that, then you have a case. You need to come in there and repair it. So in other words, the court is sympathetic to our Fifth Amendment right. The court agrees 9-0. I mean, that's slam dunk, first page ballot MVP. So let's just take a minute and think about, okay, how are we going to proceed with this? Well, you could probably go to an attorney here in Angelina County. Now, you're going to get blowback from every attorney here in Angelina County if it doesn't side with the government or our city officials. So what do you do there? Because I've heard many people, well, those defense attorneys, they're in on it. And I tend to agree, because the fact is I've seen it firsthand. I've done research into how our prisoners are taken care of, how they, plus the roads, plus all these things, or whatever you take in consideration, and you come out to, you know what, we just got a bad government. We just got a bad group of people leading us. Reminds me of that leader. I don't remember who his name was, but anyway, he was sitting there and he goes, where goes all my people? I must find out where they're going so I can lead them. That's what we got here. So keep this in mind. Like I said, I'm going to post this all over my Facebook. I don't think I can add it to, but anyway, look up the case. It's Diller versus Davila. Hold on, let me get it there so people don't get people yelling at me. Oh, you doing it wrong. Okay, which is this? It's I'll make sure I get it right. Okay, DeViller, DEVILLIER versus Texas. And it sets a precedent for similar cases involving government taking and property rights. Courts may refer to this decision when evaluating other disputes related to the property compensation. So in other words, if we have one person who files this civil lawsuit and they are awarded compensation, that means that everybody that's affected by the same issue, they can file. Now, I want to preface this. I am not trying to be a troublemaker here or do this for my own personal gain or anything. I really am not. But here's what I'm doing. Is the fact is that, you know what? We have the laws. And we have these laws to protect us from our government. So we don't get in a position to where we don't have anything else. We don't have any recourse that we can do. Typically, our roads, we couldn't do anything more about it. All we had to do was, per Keith Wright, say, well, you're going to have to trust us on the roads. Well, DeViller versus Texas says, no, we're not trusting you anymore. And if you don't fix this road, if you do not do your due diligence and maintain your infrastructure, we have a recourse now to sue you in court. We have a recourse now to actually repair the damage that you have done to my property. Got a Supreme Court decision, 9-0. This goes into law, and I don't know how Texas is going to take it or whatever, but however, just by them being slapped or just by this information getting out, it will trigger some people to start checking it out. And I would suggest, if you choose to do this, I would suggest going outside of the county to hire defense attorneys or to hire attorneys to file your cases. And here's the reason why: because you just don't get a fair shot with Angelina County. I mean, I understand this is Angelina County. You have a law firm in Angelina County, and you've got to survive in Angelina County. And in order to survive, you have to get clients and you have to win cases. But the fact of the matter is that how far will they go just to win a case? And keep in mind, a plea bargain is a win for the DA. Okay. So the next step in our progression is that with this ruling, we can now hit them from the flank. And we'll say, well, what about this? And what about this? And what about this? I like to call it this: you can't bullshit a bullshitter. And I'm going to find out if you're right or not. I mean, the things they say or whatever, I think it's funny because I'm going to look it up anyway. I'm going to look it up and I'm going to find out. So technically right now, here's where we're at. If your property was graded, or I'm sorry, your roads were graded very poor or poor, and I don't know how far they'll go up or moderate. Anyway, if it's poor or very poor, you got a case. You meet all the criteria. You've got a case. Now, the monetary value, I don't know. They're going to come in and say, well, we'll fix it for, whatever. But it's just compensation. So compensation means you owe me money because I don't trust you to come in and do the work. I am going to hire someone to complete the work and do it the right way. Instead of cutting corners like the county does, do it the right way so I don't have to worry about it no more. Now, what does that compensation include? Well, it includes all your property. It includes, let's say, for example, your kid goes out there and falls in. Okay, I'll give you an example. Say, for example, your child is on a city bus and they are going to school. Now, this city bus hits a rut road or big pothole that we have here, and your child falls out of a seat, which is damn near a possibility. Falls out of a seat, bumps his head. You got to go take him to the stitch. You got to go get stitches and shit. And it's really not a big deal for Generation X. We grew up on that shit. But the fact of the matter is that you still had to pay for the doctor. You still had to pay for your insurance and everything. And what was it caused by? It was caused by the pothole in the road that the bus had to run over. The city will not be liable because the fact is that the city is forced to actually go down these roads. The city is forced to go to the bus stops of these children. So we do have recourse over our roads now. We have a feather in our cap. We have a feather in our cap, and we have a legal precedence here. 9-0 Supreme Court came in this. So obviously we're not the only one in Texas saying this. So this information is just pertaining to this Supreme Court decision. I am thinking right now, my brain housing group is going. I'm thinking about all the people that I have seen at the commissioners meeting who have complained and brought it to their attention. One lady, they took over her road because she had a fence on the road. And they said, well, that's county road. You can't put a fence up there. She said, well, hell. She went. She's like, well, hell, I purchased this property. Here is the plat map. Here is this. This is my property. Okay, this is what I purchased. And there's no denying that because the fact is that you have the deed of title. You have the note, you have the deed and title, you have escrow instructions, and you actually will have it within 3-4 months recorded on your deed and in public records. There's no doubt that this is yours. However, we see our county seems to skip that step and believe they have eminent domain over everything. Well, okay, use your eminent domain, but if you cause any damage to my property, guess what? I am going to sue you. I don't like the word sue. I don't like it. I believe that people should be able to come together and have an agreement. On my road, for example, my road is Gibson and Rains. And when you turn onto Rains, it's barely wide enough for one. Well, it's not wide enough for two vehicles. So what happens is there's somebody coming this way, and then there's somebody coming this way. Well, one of them have to pull over. Well, because I upkeep my yard, I mow my ditches. I mow, so they just pull off in that ditch there because there's no room to fit on the road. So they just pull off in the ditch there and cause the ruts or whatever. Now, like I said, I would sit down and try to work out the problem before we went to court, before we went to lawyers, all that or whatever. And the case in point was a gentleman. He had came by and he had a welded truck and he pulled off into my road, and it just rained, but he pulled off into my ditch area or whatever, and he left some deep ruts. I was pissed, but I'm like, you know what? Like as much as I'm pissed, I'm like, you know what? But there's nothing I can do. I can't go to the county. I can't go anywhere. But this gentleman the next day, I was out with my dogs, and this gentleman the next day, he came by and he had on the back of his welding truck, he had dirt. He commenced to filling in that area or whatever. And I walked over to him and I said, hey man, he said, no, he said, I didn't have any choice. The road wasn't wide enough. He said, and I was waiting on them. He said, and I kind of pulled off because I got a welding truck and they had a regular truck and they don't fit on the highway on this road. So it's like I had to pull over to let him by or whatever. I said, sir, I understand completely. He said, but he said, I did the damage and I'm coming back over here and I'm going to fill in these ruts. And he said, is there anything else that I can do? Do you want me to? I said, sir, you know what? You don't know. Just if you can, you don't even have to spread the dirt. Just drop that dirt right there and I'll do the rest. Happy meeting. So I am going to share this with some certain people, this decision, and hopefully it'll bring out some community spirit. Hopefully it'll bring out people to have faith that you can, as a citizen, you can challenge our county government. You can challenge them. Now, let me state for the last time, this is the last recourse because the fact is that we cannot get the county to listen to the citizens. And as long as they take their stance, then we have no recourse except to go in civil court. We have no recourse. If they would come to us, okay, we have a plan. This is when we're going to fix your road. This is how we're going to. If they did all that, which an engineer would be able to write all that down. He would take it, he'd do the survey, he'd come out and drive it, he'd look whatever, he'd do his engineer shit. We didn't have that. And we don't have that. So anybody who has damage or has experienced damage or whatever, I support your decision to file a civil lawsuit because we have to make them pay attention. We have to make them understand that we are paying attention and that we have laws that are there to protect us, and they have to realize it. That's it. So, like I said, I'm going to post this. I'm going to send this out to a few people in the Watchdogs. I don't know if they watch my page or whatever, but anyway, I'm going to find out more. Also, I'm doing research on this or whatever, and how it affects different areas or whatever. But there should be a statement going out. I don't know if I'm going to do it or not. If I'm just going to post a letter to Mr. Wright and all the commissioners to let them know that this is coming down the line, and it's no way, shape, or form or meant to be vindictive. What it is to be standing up for your rights, because all the damage that's done with property, to your cars, everything is an expense that you don't need. And once again, we still do not have We still do not have an engineer. And we voted for that. So, in other words, what the government says, we don't care how you vote. We're going to do what the hell we want to do anyway. And that pisses me off. If you get a group of people who go down and vote for an item and it passes, 75% of people who voted, it passes, you need to get a road engineer. If you can't get a road engineer, here's what you do. You go to an engineering company and you say, you know what, we'll hire you on a case by case scenario so we can have an engineer look at this and be properly looked at. This takes some of the pressure off the county because the fact is, you know what, well, they can go back and say, well, this is what the engineer told us to do. We can't do that now. They have no status in court because the fact is that if the judge reads the law and says, oh, you're supposed to have a county commission, or you're supposed to have engineer, and you don't have an engineer, case closed, you're doing whatever. So that's just a tidbit for me. I'm not an attorney, don't want to be an attorney. I've seen how they operate. I don't want to. Well, somebody's got to do it, I guess. But the case of the matter is that we do now have some bullets in our gun, and when we're dealing with Angelina County, we need as many bullets as we can, because who knows where they're going to go try to get out of the situation, whatever situation it is. So anyway, guys, it's just a quick video. I made a video yesterday. I don't know if I dropped it or not, but I'll drop it in my next video, and I'm dropping this video as well, just for those who this pertains to, who may have this type of scenario, and who may have reached the level of you can't go any further. You can go to the county, and that's as far as you can go, and you got to accept what they got to say. Not anymore. The state of Texas has just said, and well, the Supreme Court has just said what our county is doing is against the law. Period. And we know that they've been breaking the law for years, but they never had one thing. They have never had anybody, such as the watchdogs, or anybody, go to the next level and do research, find proof, and actually present it to them. This is totally what happened during that meeting when Judge Wright went off the rails, because people are starting to understand that they have other legal resources besides the county. It's kind of like going over their head. We used to call it requesting mass in the military. Say, for example, I had an NCO guy. I pissed off an NCO or something like that. So he'd put me up he was going to put me up on charges. So I'd request mass to have his supervisor review it. So now we requesting mass. You don't want to do anything about it? Guess what? We're going to go to the next level. That is basically what it's all about. We don't agree with you. We don't agree with the court's decision in this particular case. So we're going to take it to the next level. We're going to bring it to a civil lawsuit, and we're going to reference this law and many others to force them to actually get an engineer, and actually maybe we can get somebody in there. But maybe we can get somebody in there fighting for us, as long as they know we're on their side, the public. Okay, guys, that's it. I'm gonna get this out real quick. Like I said, I want to email this to some people, and if you don't like, share. I mean, if you don't like it, don't care. If you don't want to become a member, that's okay. But with this information, please do me a favor and share it with other individuals in this county that are suffering from these problems and that have no legal recourse, they think, because today was a major decision and it went in our favor in Angelina County. It went in the favor of the citizens of Angelina County. There we go. Keep fighting the good fight. Keep standing up. Keep asking questions. Who, what, when, how? Where does it say that? Show me. Keep asking those questions. That, as it says. Thank you, guys. I'm out. I'm out.